Fun fact, I'll deal with it later is not a plan. It's a hostage situation, and I'm both the hostage and the negotiator. Anyway, today we're talking about the pile. You know the one. Fully sorted, completely finished in your head, and somehow still sitting exactly where you left it weeks ago, silently judging you every time you walk past. Anyway, this is Anyway, I Have ADHD, a podcast for people whose brains work on a different operating system and nobody gave them the manual. I'm Han, late diagnosed ADHD, mum of 2, founder of Neurospice Nation, and still slightly confused by the fact that nobody noticed for 31 years. Not one person. It's almost like they've never met me. Every week we pick apart a different corner of ADHD life. The stuff that's funny now, but wasn't at the time. The stuff that's still not funny, and the stuff that's actually useful. No shame, no hustle, no wellness bro energy. Just chaos. But warm chaos. With takeaways and hopefully you feeling slightly less alone or crazy. Today it's the doom pile. The one that's fully sorted and still hasn't moved. Why your brain does this, and the one tiny thing that actually gets it done. Anyway, let's get into it. So about a month ago, I had one of those bursts of main character energy where I decided today was the day. I was going to sort the kids' wardrobes, properly. Not shove things around and call it done. Actually sort them. I just had a mini-me shopping spree at Zara Kids and I physically could not fit anything else in their wardrobes. Plus, I was getting sick of my 7-year-old son coming out dressed for the day in a t-shirt he's had since he was 4, which is now officially a crop top. And look, I want credit, because I did it. I pulled everything out, I made piles. A donate pile, a bin pile, piles to hand over to friends because I can't bear to part with them forever. And then the pile that always gets me, the this needs to move from Noah's closet into Mabel's closet for when she's ready for it pile. Very organised, very proud of myself, peak productivity era. That was over a month ago. Those piles are still sitting there. Not in the wardrobes, in the laundry, where I now have to do this weird sideways shuffle every single time I need to get to the washing machine, like I'm auditioning for a stage show called Woman vs. Basket. And here's the thing that gets me. I know exactly what's in every pile. I sorted it. I made the decisions. The hard bit is done. All that's left is folding it, packaging it up, and sending it on its merry way to wherever it needs to go. Every time I walk past it, my brain goes, you should deal with that. Then immediately goes, not now though. And somehow I've had that exact argument with myself probably 40 times and lost 40 times. It's not that I forgot. It's not that I don't care. It's that the pile has officially become furniture. And some tiny gremlin part of my brain has decided walking around it is easier than finishing the job I started over a month ago. Even though finishing it would take genuinely 15 minutes. At this rate, it'll almost be time for another clean out, adding fresh piles on top of the old ones. This is the doom pile episode. Anyway. If you've got a pile like this right now, fully sorted, completely stuck, this one's for you. Okay, so first things first. This is not a laziness thing. I need you to actually believe that, not just nod along. There's a really useful distinction researchers make between procrastination and what's something called task paralysis. Procrastination is choosing to delay something. Task paralysis is your brain being neurologically unable to start, even when you genuinely want to, because the demand of the task has outstripped what your executive function has available in that moment. Different thing entirely. My doom pile wasn't me choosing to make my life difficult. It was my brain hitting a wall it couldn't see. Here's why the wall shows up in the first place. Task initiation, the actual starting bit, is one of the executive functions ADHD brains consistently struggle with. And a lot of that comes down to dopamine. Our brains are often less responsive to the kind of low-key, this needs doing motivation that gets neurotypical brains moving. We need a task to be interesting, urgent, novel, or a bit high stakes before our brain releases enough dopamine to actually engage. Multiple mounds of already sorted kids' clothes sitting quietly in the laundry offer precisely none of those things. There is no deadline, no dopamine, no reason for my brain to prioritize it over literally anything else happening that day. Then there's the out of sight problem, and this one's sneaky because it cuts both ways. Out of sight can absolutely be why the pile gets ignored. Your brain stops registering it as a task once it's not directly in your line of sight demanding attention. But the flip side is also true. Sometimes a task is so visible, so constantly in your face every time you walk past it, that your brain starts treating it as background noise instead of an active to-do. You'd think seeing it every day would make you deal with it faster. Often it does the opposite. It just becomes part of the furniture, exactly like I said. And then, this is the bit I think matters most, there's a shame layer. Research on ADHD and avoidance shows a really consistent pattern. A task doesn't get done, you feel guilty about it. Every time a family member goes into the laundry and does that little shuffle, you feel judged. That guilt turns into shame, and shame makes the task feel even heavier and harder to approach next time. It's a proper loop. Overwhelm leads to delay. Delay leads to shame. Shame leads to more overwhelm, and round it goes. Every day I step over those piles, I'm not just skipping a chore. I'm quietly loading it up with a little bit more emotional weight until a 15-minute job starts to feel like a whole event. So knowing all that, what actually helps? The single most evidenced strategy for task initiation struggles is breaking the task down to a genuinely ridiculous degree. Not sort the piles. Not even move Noah's pile into Mabel's room. Try carry one item into Mabel's room. That's it. That's the whole task. The idea is you're removing the activation energy required to start, because starting is the actual barrier, not the doing. And here's the bit that actually explains why a tiny step works, not just that it does. ADHD brains are consistently shown to favour smaller, immediate rewards over bigger, delayed ones. Researchers call this delayed discounting, and it's a big part of why finish the whole pile doesn't motivate us in the same way as carry one item right now, and it counts. That one small completion isn't nothing to your brain. It's an actual immediate reward signal, which is exactly the kind of hit a doom pile can't otherwise offer you. This is also the whole idea behind behavioural activation, a well-established approach where you take a small action first and let the motivation catch up afterwards, instead of waiting to feel ready. The other one that works alongside it is time boxing it small, committing to 5 minutes, not the whole pile, just 5 minutes. A lot of people find once they've started, the momentum carries them past the 5-minute mark anyway. But even if it doesn't, 5 minutes of a doom pile is still 5 minutes less doom pile. And the quieter one, the one that doesn't get talked about enough, is dropping the self-criticism while you do it. Harsh self-talk while you're avoiding a task doesn't motivate you into action. It just adds to the shame loop and makes your next attempt harder. Swapping "I can't believe this is still there" for "this is an ADHD thing, not a me thing" isn't just a nicer thing to say to yourself. It's actually shown to improve follow-through. So here's your one thing this week. Pick the pile. You know the one, and do not sort it. Don't finish it. Don't even decide you're going to finish it today. Just carry one item to where it needs to go. One item. That's the whole ask. If you want a hand actually structuring that, I've made a little one-pager that turns into a 5-minute plan you can stick on the fridge. I'll pop the link in the show notes. Before we go, a very important reminder, this podcast is not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. If anything in this episode has stirred up something heavier for you, reach out to a professional or call Lifeline on 131114. They're there 24/7. Anyway, I have ADHD. Next week, we're staying on the daily life arc and getting into time blindness, otherwise known as why 15 minutes in my head and 15 minutes on a clock are apparently two completely different units of measurement. Why it happens, why just leave earlier is not the fix everyone thinks it is, and what actually helps when your brain can't feel time passing until it's already gone. Anyway, I have ADHD, and if you're here, you probably do too. New episodes every Wednesday. Follow the show so you don't miss one. And if you forget to follow and then forget the show exists entirely, no judgment. That's why I'm also on Instagram and TikTok at NeuroSpiceNation. Come find me, send me a DM, tell me your diagnosis story. I genuinely want to know. It's not just something I say. If today's episode helped even a little, a rating or review goes a long way. It's how other spicy brains find the show, and quite frankly, my ego could use it. If you've got a doom pile of your own or literally any ADHD thing you want me to pick apart, validate, or give the full episode treatment, send it through Instagram or TikTok at NeuroSpiceNation or the contact page on our website. I collect these like Pokemon cards. And remember, you're not broken, you're just a lot. See you next week.